What's up, everyone? This is Brian of Brian and Tisha React. And today I'd like to give my thoughts on the first season of WandaVision and where I think they can take the character of the Scarlet Witch in the future. The first season of WandaVision kicked off the era of episodic Disney MCU TV shows, and man, did it set the bar high. WandaVision felt like a film stretched out over 9 short episodes. The CGI and cinematography went way beyond the quality of what you typically see with superhero TV shows. So much so that one can say one major thing holding back superhero TV shows are the hefty budgets, similar to what WandaVision reportedly got. According to The Hollywood Reporter, each episode for WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is upcoming, and Hawkeye, which is also upcoming, all cost in the neighborhood of $25 million an episode, meaning WandaVision had a budget in the realm of $225 million. That's something we've never seen before, and it showed. But it was the story combined with the acting of everyone involved in the show that really made season 1 special. Yeah, a lot of the more amazing theories that were put out there turned out to be misdirections, but I think that's part of the fun of doing all of this. We like theories and theorizing about where the MCU will go in the future. It doesn't mean it'll actually happen, though. I'll have my own theories later on in this video, so I'm pretty much just defending my own actions for the most part. This show is an example of why longer narratives are better for the MCU. You can't properly do justice to a whole team of complex characters in 2.5 to 3 hours without details just being left out. Anyone that's read Marvel Comics know that the Scarlet Witch and Vision are often seen together as romantic love interests. This was touched upon briefly beginning in Captain America Civil War, then Avengers Infinity War, but we never really got a chance to understand why Wanda Maximoff gravitated towards an android like Vision until now. WandaVision actually makes Vision's death in Infinity War that much more potent now. So those are some of the things that I liked. Now let's get into some of the shortcomings of the show. I know the budgets for these projects are already large, but Disney Plus has a ton of subscribers now as well. These episodes have got to be longer. A 34-minute episode with, I don't know, 5 to 6 minutes or more of credits isn't going to cut it for too long. It was an issue for me in The Mandalorian as well, as some of the same issues arose with WandaVision. Things that could have been done earlier in the season with a longer format are kind of just prolonged. And when they're finally revealed, they're not really what people thought or expected they would be. Another thing I'm seeing is that a lot of people didn't like the Ralph Pietro reveal. Turns out that not only was Ralph not important, as some thought he was really important, some people thought he was Mephisto. He was just some random guy whose house Agatha Harkness took over. Then the boner joke with his last name was, I can understand people being a little let down by that and being let down by what feels like trolling after so much buildup. But to play devil's advocate, it was build up powered mostly by fan theories. I wanted what a lot of other people wanted as well. I thought that they pulled over the Evan Peters Quicksilver from the Fox universe and was going to use the multiverse to explain it. That didn't happen though, and they opted instead for a much simpler plot. Like I said, I'm cool with that because I like the show overall, and it was really a story about Wanda's dangerous power level and how she can't control it more than anything else. WandaVision explores the theme of loss and grief big time in season 1, and that was the ultimate goal. Now, where can they take these characters in the future? Well, I definitely expect most of the main characters from this show to pop up in other MCU titles. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of crossover action, which is normal in comic books, so why not MCU TV? With regards to the Scarlet Witch herself, if they greenlight a second season, I'd like to see them take elements from James Robinson's Scarlet Witch series that ran 15 issues from 2015 to 2017. Now, of course, we don't know what Kevin Feige will have Wanda doing between now and the beginning of a potential new season. We likely won't be seeing a Scarlet Witch again until Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which won't be out until last I checked, March 25th, 2022. After that, there aren't any open slots until February of 2023 at the earliest, unless they squeeze a second season into 2022, which seems unlikely. If they do pull from the James Robinson run, for those of you who haven't read it, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool story. We see Wanda traveling around the world by herself to Scotland, France, Spain, Hong Kong, all over the place, really, after she's come to the realization while she was in Manhattan in issue 1 that witchcraft has become unbalanced, if you will, like the Force in Star Wars. There's an unbalance in the Force, but in this case, it's witchcraft, not the Force. There's too much chaos energy, and it's causing spontaneous events of evil acts all over the world. So she goes from place to place, location to location, learning the history of magic there and cleansing the area of those evil forces. But for a potential season 2, instead of going around the world, because that might cost too much money budget-wise, they could go from city to city in the United States in each episode. You know, like one episode, she's in New Orleans. One episode, she's in Salem. One episode, she's in New York. You know, and then in the story, in the comic book story, she comes into contact with a character named the Emerald Warlock, who becomes a minor villain of sorts for her. He's really ancient, just like Agatha Harkness, and even worked with Agatha Harkness during World War II. So there's a connection there that they can use. What's also interesting about this series is that it's actually revealed that Wanda's mother was actually the Scarlet Witch before her. Now, I don't know if they'd use that in the MCU given Wanda's mother died in Sokovia, even though in the comic book as well, Wanda's mother is also dead. But the question might arise among fans, well, if Wanda's mother was so powerful, if she was the Scarlet Witch before Wanda, which would explain her powers, how couldn't she survive that blast from that bomb that killed her? My point is, though, I don't think we've heard the last about Wanda's background. This isn't even including really wacky characters like the High Evolutionary, who could appear down the line in the MCU, in some sort of MCU property. Now that we're doing TV shows for a bunch of characters, I think we're going to see a lot of characters that we never thought we'd see in the MCU, including villains. So that includes the High Evolutionary and other characters like him that are very obscure. But it'll be interesting to see what they do with them. Now, what about Vision? Well, now that Vision has been reborn essentially through White Vision and given his memories back, it's hard to say exactly where he might end up in future projects. I'd imagine Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness might be the logical assumption, but that's unclear at this point. I don't think it'll be the old Vision. This is something completely different, and it may drive the Scarlet Witch and Vision apart for some time, as we also see in the comics. This could open the door for Wanda potentially appearing in the Blade series as well. Now that the Darkhold has been introduced in the MCU, I think it'll be explained that this is where vampires came from, among other things as well. So I could definitely see them finding a way to fit Wanda into the Blade series. Not the entire series, but if for no other reason other than an appearance for maybe an episode or two to explain the Darkhold and anything else, and then, you know, she'll be gone after that. Then there's Monica Rambeau, aka Spectrum, aka Photon. We don't really know what name they're going to go with her at this point, but we won't see her again more than likely until Captain America 2. I mean, not Captain America, Captain Marvel 2, which doesn't come out until November of 2022. So next year, the end of next year, actually. So we still have a while to wait before we see her again, more than likely. Darcy Lewis and Jimmy Woo could pop up just about anywhere. Their characters are flexible enough to where you can put them just about in any circumstance where you need, you know, a smart but unpowered person. While I don't think this is the last we've seen of Agatha Harkness either, her character is so tied to Wanda in the comics that I don't think we'll see her without Wanda anytime soon. Those two are pretty tight at the hip, at least like I said in the comics. So whenever Wanda appears again is the only likely chance we'll get to see Agatha in the future. So that is my brief review of season 1 of WandaVision. I hope you enjoyed it. Please share, like, and subscribe.